Okay, thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the May 4th, 2021 meeting of the Board of Public Works. The time is 7:33, or excuse me, 6:33. Thank you, Mr. Olson. The meeting has been mailed and posted, and it is being held both in person and via remote conferencing. So I'll continue with the roll call. Mayor Kim Smith, myself, I'm present. Jim Olson,
Present.
Alder Steve Knott,
Present.
Jared Holter,
Here.
Fred Bueller.
Here.
Committee members are all here. Item 2, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott, seconded by Jim Olson to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is public input. This is opportunity for members of the public to directly address the Board of Public Works. If you would like to do so, please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Welcome.
Sorry, bring it down to my level.
Wasn't on. Can you say your name and address again, please? I apologize.
All right. Let's start from the top.
Start over, reset the clock.
Yes.
Good evening. Dan Ferries, 402 9th Avenue North, Onalaska. What brings me here tonight is item 7 on the agenda, and a review and consideration of removal of the sidewalk abutting 1023, 1025. It's a duplex, and along with another duplex, 1027, 1029, right next door. I'm all about sidewalks. Nobody walks more than Gene and I throughout the city every day. We need them, and they're great. They bring the community together. So I'm very much about sidewalks when they're practical. I hope you guys have an overview of what it looks like on the north side of Lacrosse Street, which runs east and west. So on the north side of that, from 9th Street to 11th Street, I would guess a quarter of a mile. There's 3 properties that have sidewalks. I have 2 of them, and they are in the need of some attention. Last year, Kevin was nice enough to point that out to me. So what I'm asking you tonight in consideration would be there, and some of the properties along Lacrosse Street, it's not even conceivable to put sidewalks where the banks come right down to the curb.
Yeah.
Big retaining walls, it would require things like that. So nobody uses these sections of sidewalk. Across the street, on the south side of Lacrosse Street, the sidewalk runs all the way up to about 1030 Lacrosse Street, and they stop. One of this, and it's about a block short of 11th Street. That would be an appropriate place to finish out that place. One of the last spots that Kevin marked last year, last square, the next step, you're on grass because the sidewalk stops. So what I'm asking for is consideration. We're all talking about green space. We're talking about pervious ground, stormwater, stormwater runoff and all that stuff. This would be great for that. It'd be conducive to the neighborhood because like I said, we've got a unique situation there. So I don't know if you have any questions, and I apologize, I've got to bug out to head over to the Legion for another meeting. But that's my request, is that if I remove the sidewalk, landscape it down like all the other neighbors, and call it a day. So I appreciate your time and your consideration. Thanks for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the Board of Public Works this evening? Is there anyone else who would like to address the Board of Public Works this evening?
I would. I got a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Understood. My name is James Michael. I live at 913 12th Avenue South, Apartment 7, in Alaska, Wisconsin. And the main question I have is recently we've received our bill amongst the tenants where I live, where there's been a significant about an 85% increase. And I'm curious as to what has happened in terms of either like the zoning, where I don't know if we're being considered commercial now, even though we used to be residential, or what's the reason why and the justification for the increase in our water, our water bill?
Sir, if I get your telephone number, or you can contact us tomorrow morning, we could answer your questions for you.
I mean, it's pretty easy question to answer. I mean, what's the main reason?
Sir, this is an opportunity for public input. It's not an opportunity for dialogue. So that's why our.
Oh, okay, understood. Okay, I understand.
so-
I didn't realize. I apologize.
Well, no,
My
no,
my telephone number is 608-304-5794. And then when I get the information, I can relay that to people within my apartment complex of what's going on with that.
yes, thank you. We would be happy to provide that. Jared will give you a call tomorrow and thank you for bringing that to our attention.
All right, well, thank you. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to address the Public Works this evening? Is there anyone who would like to address the Public Works Committee? Last chance. Okay, the public input portion of this meeting is now closed, and we will continue on with consideration and possible action on the following items. Item 4 is the election. This is the start of a new service year. So we will be electing a chair and vice chair for this committee. I'll start with item A, the chair. Would someone like to make a nomination for chair?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Steve Knott for chair, please.
Thank you. We have a nomination on the floor by Jim Olson for Stephen Knott for chair. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Fred Bueller. Are there any other nominations? Not seeing any. We have a motion on the floor to elect Stephen Knott chair. Motion was by Jim Olson, seconded by Fred Bueller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
I'll abstain.
Motion carries unanimously with 1 abstention. Item B, election of the vice chair. Is there a nomination for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Jim Olson as vice chair.
Okay, we have a nomination by Stephen Knott to elect Jim Olson as vice chair. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Jared Holter. Are there any other nominations? Not seeing any. The motion on the floor is to elect Jim Olson as chair.
Chair.
Or vice chair, sorry. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion is unanimous with 1 abstention. I will now turn the meeting over to our new chair. Congratulations, Stephen Knott.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. We are now on item number 5, public hearing regarding the proposed concrete sidewalk assessments at various locations throughout the city of Onalaska. I'll open the public hearing at this time, asking for any who would like to speak in support of the proposal to please state your name and your address. Anyone who would wish to speak in support of the proposal at this time? Second call for anyone who would like to speak in support of the proposal. Third and final call for anyone who would like to speak in support of the proposal. Okay, that portion is closed. Now for the public hearing, anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the proposal. Second call for anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the proposal. Third and final call for anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the proposal. That portion is closed. The public hearing is closed. Jared, do you have any comments?
This is one section of sidewalk in the Aspen Valley subdivision that we did miss during the initial round of sidewalk installation for the public hearing we had back in January. So we are requesting that this does get approved. I did talk to the property owner before the meeting that this was coming, so I would just, my recommendation would be to move on to the resolution, take action on number 6.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, moving on to item number 6, Resolution 29-2021, final resolution regarding assessments for concrete sidewalk and concrete apron at various locations in Onalaska, Wisconsin. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 29-2021.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mayor Smith, a second by Jim Olson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 7, review and consideration of removal of sidewalk abutting 1023, 1025, and 1027, 1029 LaCrosse Street. Jared.
In your packet tonight, you do have an email correspondence from Mr. Ferries, who is the owner of 2 properties along LaCrosse Street, requesting the removal of the city sidewalk that has been installed at that location. And Mr. Ferries was here for public comment tonight, citing his reasons. If you go to page 12 of your packet tonight and look at the map that was included, the sidewalks system did not show up real well there, but basically I can describe the existing sidewalk system in this area along 9th Avenue South, which is at the bottom of the page if you have it open that way. There are sidewalks on both sides of that area. Then along 12th Avenue South, there are sidewalks, which would be at the top of the page. Between 12th Avenue South and 9th Avenue South, there's a little bit of sidewalk along Green Street, and then there's sidewalk along LaCrosse Street on the south side of the road up to 1030. So that takes you just past Michael Court on the south side of the street. On the north side of the street, there is sidewalk in front of 3 duplexes on that area just to the east of Michael Court. So that would be 417, 419 Michael Court, 1023 and 1027 LaCrosse Street. So this is the only section of sidewalk in this area along this north side of LaCrosse Street. One thing I would point out, if you've driven this area and looked at this area, if you go down to 931, 935, 1001 in that area, there is a pretty steep embankment. If we were going to extend the sidewalk, it would probably take some retaining walls and some work to get it in. The sidewalk, though, at this location has been here, it's at least 30 years old. It was put in when the homes were put in. I don't have the exact year for that, but I know it's been at least 30 years. So the only other location in my time here that I have seen sidewalk removed that has been in place was on 5th Avenue, right over by Irving Perch. Used to be the city swimming pool there. Across the street, there's 3 homes, and it's a dead end that really doesn't go anywhere. And approximately 20 years ago, we did allow the middle section to remove their sidewalk. That's the only time in my 25-year tenure here that I've ever seen a sidewalk removed that's already been installed. So I can see the owner's reason for the application to request the removal of the sidewalk, but it is a slippery slope. It's just a hard thing when you have sidewalks entered and to try to put them in. What's the criteria that we use that we either remove them or don't? As you know, just by a few months ago, we went through public hearings on installation of sidewalk, and you can see how contentious putting in sidewalk is. So I guess with that, I'd open up for comments from the committee and see which direction we want to head.
Would anyone like to make any comment? I got a few questions, but I'll hold. Okay. Okay, so, first off, I guess on the grand view with the city, I'm looking at what are the long-term sidewalk plans in this area? You know, we have a plan, I know, in the city for this. Are those sidewalks part of a larger extension that we're planning on sometime in the future?
So there is on our current proposed sidewalk system map, there are no sidewalks proposed on 11th Avenue South, Green Bay, Lacrosse Street, Placid Court. Those areas do not have any proposed future sidewalks. This area predominantly is flat enough, probably could have them installed. This is an area that was developed by a developer by the name of Raymond Homes years ago. And this area and also the area north of Main Street between US 53 and Sand Lake Road is another area where we are really lacking sidewalks in those neighborhoods. And that was just the will of the council at the time and the plan commissions. They never required any sidewalks to be installed, and we have never went into those neighborhoods and required it to be installed.
So those three property locations are the only current and proposed sidewalks on that side of the street at this time?
That is correct.
Okay. I know when Dan was here talking during the public input, he stated that it would be very difficult for sidewalks to continue east beyond his property. Would you agree with that assessment?
To the east toward Placid Court, 11th Avenue South, I think those could be installed. I think those, anytime we go into an existing neighborhood and have to install sidewalk, it is a difficult thing trying to match driveways and match yards and things like that. But I think it could be installed there. I would actually tend to say to the west toward 9th Avenue South on the north side of Lacrosse Street. If you've driven that area, it'd be a difficult spot there. There's actually a row of steps that go up to, I believe it's 935, and the yards for 931 and 1001 are pretty steep.
Okay. So what were those properties that were pretty steep again?
931, 935, and 1001.
That's to the west, okay.
Yep.
Well, the reason I'm focusing on kind of east is you've got sidewalk that runs 9th Avenue all on the south side of Lacrosse Street all the way up to 1030. And then it's across the street that other sidewalk starts for only 3 properties. It's everything east of 1030 and 1027, which are across the street from each other. Everything east of that has no sidewalk. And I think that's where the property owner in his email, he mentions sidewalk to nowhere, I believe. Or is it just in the,
It's the end of the line.
yeah, end of the line. Yeah, okay. So, if we were to look at this, what would make more sense if we're going to continue sidewalk east, going on the north side or on the south side of the street?
If I was going to make a recommendation on installing sidewalk, it would be to continue it on the south side because we've got a connection already to 9th Avenue South. It comes back to, obviously one side having sidewalk is better than no sides, but depending on how you want to do the neighborhood, 2 sides is always even better. But a sidewalk connection, if we're going to put a sidewalk connection on one side or the other, I would look at the south side of Lacrosse Street as an option because a larger majority of it is in place already existing.
So if we were to do that sometime in the future, that would still leave those properties on the north as the only sidewalked areas. They'd be servicing themselves, again, with nowhere to the west and nowhere to the east to go. So I'm not, at this time, does anyone else want to have any questions? Because I'll make a motion here. Go ahead. Yes, Mayor.
Jared, I have a question. So say, just for the sake of discussion, that we told this property owner he could go ahead and remove the sidewalk from the 2 properties and put the landscaping to match the area. I mean, I feel like if we were to do that, then the remaining, the people on the remaining north side of Lacrosse Street should also have that as a future option so that we're consistent. Can you visualize how that would fit into our long-term plan and be consistent?
Go ahead, Jared.
If you were going to approach the request tonight for the two properties, I think you should make a motion for all three properties. Uh, Just because it would be consistent then and it would, you know, it would look better. Now, I don't know if you really want to require them to remove it because there's a cost to removing it also, so they may not want to remove it right away. But I would make if you're going to move forward with removing two, I would make a motion to remove all three because I just think either you're going to keep it there as a future connection and someday it may get connected or it all should just get removed.
So,
What was that other house number? Is it
417, 419 Michael Court.
it's the side of their property, that sidewalk on Lacrosse.
but only facing Lacrosse Street?
Right.
Correct.
So, reference, one of the comments you just made, Jared, I think it's probably going to have to be an either or. Either they're going to have to improve the sidewalk because based on the fact that it's deteriorating, or they're going to have to remove it. I don't think there'd be an option. They'd have to do one or the other based upon if you have a sidewalk. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have a sidewalk and it's not in compliance with maintenance standards, somebody's going to be held liable for that if somebody gets hurt, right?
So I'm not sure if 417, 419 had any defects that were marked, but if they were defects marked, they would have to either come in compliance with fixing those defects or remove the sidewalk if you gave the option of
Right.
removing all the sidewalk.
Yeah, so it would be an either or, and it wouldn't be
Correct.
an option. Yeah, that's what I thought. Any other comments or questions? Yes, Eric?
Thank you. I think just also be clear, Jared hit on this real quickly. In whatever motion it takes, are you allowing the sidewalk to be removed or are you having the city remove the sidewalk itself? I think those are two separate questions that I think the committee should answer as part of its motion.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
So which of those is preferable to the engineering department?
I would give the owner to allow them to remove the sidewalk or make repairs to any defects that are present, if that was what you would choose to do.
Any other comments or questions? I'm going to make a motion that we table this for 1 month to allow the city engineers to look at that area to see how they would incorporate it and what would be best in a long-term sidewalk plan, if you will. I'll leave it at that motion, I guess.
Second.
Okay, in discussion, the reason I want to do that is I want to make sure that whatever decision we make is an informed, fully informed decision. Right now, I think we're making certain assumptions and I'm uncomfortable doing that. That's why I'm doing this. So I'm thinking table this for 1 month. Yes, Mayor.
Jared, was the property owner for 417, 419, did they receive notification of this? Are they aware this is under discussion right now?
They did not, and if you so choose, I could reach out via a letter to that homeowner.
If we
Property
are
owner.
going to table, I would like to do that and have that information on hand as well.
Good idea. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 8, review and consideration of purchase of chlorine equipment for well number 9, which is a non-budgeted item. Jared.
In your packet tonight, I do have a memo outlining the addition of larger chlorine equipment at well number 9. I've also attached a quote from Hawkins Chemical. They are the chemical company that supplies our chemical equipment. They're a sole provider, the only one that we use to get this equipment. With this, we have been looking at a variety of things. We have approved the post-chlorination, which is being installed currently to apply more chlorine to the water as it leaves the filter. This is our well number 9 that has the large filter plant at it. This would, currently we're pumping 100 pounds per day. We'd like to have a pump that could pump up to 250. We're using more chlorine to ensure that our filter stays clean. We've invested a lot of time, effort, and money into getting it clean. So we are requesting that we purchase this equipment. We did not have it budgeted. I did talk to Fred, Finance Director Bueller, and did state that we could take this out of the water department reserves to purchase this equipment. We would like to do this to see if this works before I would come back and move out into the chemical room and do a bigger, larger adding a whole nother insertion point for chlorine to add more chlorine. So this is expending funds to hopefully not expend a larger project.
Yes, Mayor, sorry.
I was just gonna make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of chlorine equipment for well number 9. This is a non-budgeted item. The purchase would be from Hawkins Chemical Incorporated Water Treatment Group, and the amount would be not to exceed $13,340, with the funds to come from other capital improvement projects designated for 2021.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Mayor Smith, a second from Jim Olson. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 9, review and consideration of highway safety improvement program project at Riders Club and East Avenue, including professional engineering design for the project, is also a non-budgeted item. Jared.
In your packet tonight, I have included an award letter for a grant, Highway Safety Improvement Program grant administered through the Wisconsin DOT for the traffic safety improvements at East Avenue and Riders Club. And if you, probably over the last 10 years, I think we've had it on the Board of Public Works probably 3 times with different requests for things to be done at that intersection. We actually hired SEH a number of years ago to do some work at that intersection, planning work. And then on top of that, we actually received STP urban monies to replace the pavement and base aggregate along Riders Club Road from 35 to Sand Lake Road. And as part of that project, we actually studied the intersection and did what they call an intersection control evaluation, looked at what could go into that intersection. And at that time, the warrants weren't met for proceeding forward. So we've designed that project with just the maintenance of the 2 stop signs that stop Riders Club Road traffic at East Avenue. Since then, based upon accident data, we were able to submit an application for a project to install what's called a mini roundabout. So instead, in your packet tonight on page 19, you can see a conceptual layout of that mini roundabout. The one difference you'll find with the mini roundabout is that the whole center island is mountable. There's no soil in the center of it. There's nothing. So if you get a semi that wants to circumnavigate the roundabout, it actually will ride up on the center. But that center is high enough that you're not going to go over it straight through with a car. It would not physically. You could do it, but you're gonna damage your vehicle. So with that, a couple things tonight. One is that we have the grant award, and that if the board would so choose to move forward with the grant award. So the grant total funds was $318,429 was for construction and oversight. Of that, we get 90% federal state share, which is $286,586, which would leave a local share of $31,843 that would have to be budgeted at a further point. In order to receive these funds and perform this project, it has to be designed through the state bid system and let as a state project. So with that, it's a totally different design than what our city engineering department does. We don't do those designs in-house. You have to be on the state system in order to have all the specifications, plans, estimates, and everything like that to be submitted. So we typically will receive consultant assistance on this. We did not ask for any design assistance or right-of-way assistance because the federal funds make it very hard to get those funds to meet all the mandates with that. So if they were willing to pay the 90% for the intersection that I knew that we needed to have something done, I thought that our local share of paying for the design and the right-of-way work would be well within our means and would be a good investment in that intersection for the city. So the second part of this is tonight that in order to meet the timelines for this project, because there's long timelines on right-of-way work, getting it designed, getting it through their system, if we approve the design for this project today at the council meeting next week, we are looking at a spring 2023 construction. If we do not move forward with the design and put it into our capital improvements budget like we normally would do, it would be a 2024 construction. So with this tonight, I do have a request in with this. I've received a proposal from SEH, who performed the original intersection report for the DOT work that was done in the earlier project and the conceptual layouts to do the final design for us. And you know, you've got many things that go into this. You've got right-of-way plats. You've got not only the plans and specifications. We're going to do a lighting design with this, so we're going to be safe. It's going to be part of the construction is to put up lights. But with that, you're looking at a total fee of $49,400. With that, what my proposal would be to use the funds from the Green Coulee intersection savings that we budgeted and then put those funds into this project for the design. And then we would go into further capital improvement budgets and budget for our local share and the right-of-way work, which could be budgeted in future years. One thing, and this might be a question for Eric if he wanted to weigh in, talking to Fred today, or Finance Director Bueller, we did go over it. You know, we are proposing to move forward with this because SCH has done this already, the concept work and everything. We did not submit a request for proposals for this work, so we did not garner any other estimates for the work. We have done enough of these projects where I have reviewed the costs and the hours that they have submitted in their detailed estimate. And I feel that they are fair and justified for the work that they're going to be doing, but that is another question that we'll have to answer tonight, whether we want to, I think first would be, do we want to accept the grant? And if so, I'll be bringing back a state municipal agreement for future approval. And also whether we want to have design services and have a request for qualifications, request for proposals, or we want to move forward with the proposed agreement that you see in the packet tonight from SEH. So if I haven't confused you already, hopefully you can ask some questions and we can clarify things.
Yes, Fred.
And the reason the discussion we're having here in reference to SEH score going out for proposals is simply because of the modifications we recently made on the finance manual as it relates to vendors of this size.
I have a question. I'm looking at the design. How much is this going to intrude onto the properties of some of the property owners there?
This will include right-of-way acquisition on most likely all four corners. We have to see, you know, the school district corner has quite a few private utility cabinets that are in that area. There's two transformers and a charter cabinet. So if we can try and get some of those to fit behind the curb and move the sidewalk maybe behind those, we might try and look at that as one of the design options. But there will be right-of-way impacts to all four quadrants of some fashion to do this.
There are some private homes there, right?
Three of the four sides are owned by private
what I thought.
residences, correct?
Have they been notified of this at all?
They have not. They will be notified as part of the process once we get a final design, and we'll reach out to them and look at this conceptually. We did not set this up with a public information hearing. It's not required, but we could also do that. At a minimum, we would, once we received a proposed design and before we move forward, we'd reach out to those property owners.
So after the design and before we move forward with the final approval of the project, there would still be an option to up to and including not moving forward.
Once you, so you're going to have impacts to the property owners no matter what. It's just a matter of how much, where, and how much we can work around things. If we approve the state municipal agreement, you are saying that you will build the project, but we will not have expended any of their funds because we're funding it locally, the design. So you would, if you did choose to move forward with the design and then choose to not move forward with construction, the city would have a set of plans that it paid for that just would not get built, is what would happen.
My concern on it, it has nothing to do with whether or not I think the project looks awesome, whether or not I think that this is a great opportunity. It's just that, I mean, sounds like we're, by voting on this, almost approving the project. I mean, coming pretty darn close without the residents actually being notified.
And I agreed that we would be, and it would be, obviously, we would work with the homeowners as much as possible, but we will have impacts. And that what will happen is if we cannot find a avenue to satisfy the homeowner needs, then the council will come back through Board of Public Works, and we would make a decision, the council would make a decision whether they would condemn to move the project forward.
Okay. But we would be committed to this 40.
Correct. The 49,000 would be, you may not have all of that expended by that time, but you would most likely have the vast majority of it.
Okay. Any other? Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, just a couple things. I agree, it seems like it's coming up kind of fast with just, a short period of time to make the decision, but I see that Jared was just notified by the Department of Transportation on April 27th. So really, it is actually kind of fast for city stuff and how it tends to go. Just thinking about this in preparation for the meeting, just thinking about this intersection in general, I had a memory come back to me from when Ron Lund was our city engineer. And this was a hot topic at the time because development to the north was coming and we were seeing a lot of traffic on East Avenue and Riders Club Road at that intersection. There'd probably been some accidents and the council asked the engineer at the time what we could do to improve the traffic flow at that intersection so that we didn't have these accidents. And Ron's idea was to put a larger stop sign up. Do you remember that, Jared?
It's still there.
So we have the large stop sign with the reflective tape. And I think this kind of looks beyond that and tries to put some modern ways of dealing with traffic. And I know that we have forecasted a lot of adding a lot of population to the northern part of our community, which will increase traffic there and the problem will only get worse. So even though it does feel kind of fast, I'm in favor of moving forward with this. When it comes to not getting the two estimates or going out for a request for proposal on the close to $50,000 price tag. I guess SEH is a known provider of professional services that we have a long time relationship with. So in this case, I'd be a little more comfortable moving forward with that rather than if we were venturing into a different category of services that we don't routinely use. We use SEH commonly to supplement our in-house engineering services. So I guess I would be willing to make an exception for that as well. It's just my 2 cents worth.
Just with the understanding that the $49,400 could potentially be a loss sometime in the future if for some reason, after hearing with public notice, the common council at that time were to decide not to move forward. That's it. That just understand if that we're going to go forward with a motion to do this, that we're assuming some risk with $49,400. Is that?
I think that risk is with any project. At any time, the council can choose to, if the homeowner, a property owner would come up and not agree with our negotiations and we moved forward to condemn to move the project forward, then it's a decision that the council would have to support.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor.
And I guess I could cite an example of that with the Great River Landing and the initial plans with that, and the council decided to not go forward and return the grant money and not do the project as we had, part of the project as we had originally foreseen. So
Okay,
we have done that
so
before.
it's not unprecedented.
If we find out something it's a deal breaker.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a
The
motion.
the good thing here is we don't have to pay any money back. We're expending our own funds for the design. And if it didn't move forward, you would still have some value in those plans because eventually someday something is probably going to get done there. So it would still have some value.
Thanks, Jared. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the Highway Safety Improvement Program project at Riders Club Road and East Avenue, including professional engineering design work for the project, using SEH at a cost not to exceed $49,400. And this money is to come from the 2021 capital improvement budget.
Okay, have
That
a
covered it all.
motion from Mayor Smith, a second from Jim Olson. Let's move on to discussion. Was it coming from, I might have missed some, 2021 capital improvements project, or was it coming from the savings from the Green Coulee roundabout?
They're the same thing,
It's the same thing.
same thing.
Got it.
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion?
I don't know. Eric, did you want to weigh in on that at all?
Can I add one more before it comes up? Would the board be, if we move forward with this and I get the state municipal agreement to attach to the council agenda, would you be okay if I put that on as a non-consent item? We could act on that too. There's a state agreement that they're trying to draft right now to get that ready. So it would, if we're going to approve the whole thing, it'd be nice if I could get that in time to go on the agenda. It would be advantageous to also get that done.
That would be prudent.
Yes. Eric?
No, just to confirm the statements I think Mayor Smith had pointed out. It is an exception to our new purchasing policy to go without RFP for this amount. But to me, it's also, there's already sunken costs to it that if you go for a bid that you're not replicating those, you're going to pay again for work that's already been done to some degree. So I'm supportive of that as to working with SEH on this particular project as well. Time-wise, I know this is something that in the 4 years that I've been here, and that's only, a sliver of time compared to 25 years of Jared and others that have been around for a lot longer as well. Though those neighbors may be giving up some space, I think knowing that there was a death for someone's front yard from the motorcycle accidents a few years ago, I think that there'll be support of having some solutions there as well. I don't see putting something here to solve the speeding problem being very contentious at all. I'm trying to predict the future if I can. The danger in doing that, I understand, but I think this will be supported by the broader neighborhood as well as the neighbors immediately in the area as well. Anything else you want me to weigh in on, I think? No. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve the moving forward with the plan, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10, review and consideration of purchasing water main easement at 849 Second Avenue Southwest. Jared.
In your packet tonight on page 24, you can see a picture of Second Avenue Southwest. As part of the 2021 utility project, we will be replacing Second Avenue Southwest from the railroad tracks up to Second Avenue. And as part of this project, we will be jack and boring a new water main under the railroad tracks. Kevin Schubert, our assistant city engineer, has been working on many permits for this through the railroad, a lot of paperwork to fill out. Part of this existing water main is actually on the right side of the sheet. You can kind of barely see it, but it's in a totally different location than we're proposing it today. Part of that is we're trying to miss some railroad appurtenances and things in that area. We had originally proposed the water main to be jack and bored across approximately 50 feet closer to the roadway, but the railroad came back and said they have a stipulation that any boring across the railroad must be minimum 125, 150 feet from their switchgear. And we were not within that, we were within that 150 feet, even though we were 50 feet farther than what we were before. So we have to be, this is the closest point at the 150 feet from the switchgear. But in order to do that, now you can see the crosshatched area, we are outside city right of way and current city easements. So looking at this with the owner of 849 Second Avenue Southwest, we have negotiated with them and come to a price of $6,000 to purchase the larger easement over that land to be able to install the boring pit and get the water main installed to go underneath the railroad tracks. Part of the reason this is so important is this is our only connection to the area that's by Nutbush and the Lauderdale condos. This is the only water source we have going in that direction. So it's a single source feed. And we are actually interconnected with La Crosse at, by the Nutbush. We do have valves down there. So if a calamity happened, an emergency happened somewhere in either city, we could cross feed the other community. We have 2 locations like that. We have one by the mall and one at this location. So we are actually installing a larger water main. Instead of a 6-inch water main you see today, we are installing a 10-inch water main. So we are designing for better flows, better pressures, and just more longevity of service down in this area. So we really, due to the railroad regulations, I think over about a 2-month period, Kevin had about 6 different ways he tried to get it in there, and this was the best way that we could find.
Okay. Any questions, Mayor?
I have a new question that I didn't have before. So after it goes under the railroad tracks, then where does it go when it heads over there?
It connects in on the, call it the south side of Second Avenue Southwest into the existing water main, and then runs down Second Avenue Southwest to the Nutbush, and then runs up Lauderdale Place. It's not actually in the road right away. It's in a 15-foot, I think it's 10 or 15-foot easement on the north side of the right of way and runs through the yards. Because the residents on the north side of Lauderdale Place are in the city of Onalaska, and the
Right.
south side are in the city of La Crosse.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
This would also be funded out of the project funding for the project in the water department section of the 2021 capital projects.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the purchasing of the water main easement at 849 Second Avenue South at a price not to exceed $6,000.
To make sure, it's Second Avenue Southwest.
Oh, sorry.
That, yeah.
And the funding to come from the 2021 capital improvement projects.
We have a second? Second, okay, Jim. Okay, so a motion made by Mayor Smith and seconded by Jim Olson to approve the purchasing of the water main easement at 849 Second Avenue Southwest. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 11, pay estimates. And we have an updated version of that should be at our table, I noticed when I got here as well.
Yeah, I did add number 12 since the packet went out for MSA Professional Services. So I'm requesting payment of the 12 estimates dated May 4th, 2021.
Make a motion that we approve the Public Works monthly pay estimates on the handout dated May 4th, 2021. There are 12 items listed, and I make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve monthly estimates dated May 4th, 2021. Motion made by Mayor Smith, seconded by Jim Olson. Do I hear any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. I have 7:21.